This video is a cracker. It's my top 40 tips for getting the best from your Insta360 Go. Be sure to watch all the way through to the end to get the most benefit for your shooting with the Go. And if you don't have one, well, it's going to give you a good idea of its capabilities too. For many of these tips, I've also made separate videos where you can get more details and tutorials, so check the video description to find those, and also make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell because actually I've got more coming soon over and above the 40 tips I'm going to share with you today. And stay tuned for my bonus tip at the end, which is the #1 issue that people with their Go struggle with. So let's begin. Alright, linear mode, what does that actually mean? Well, usually the Insta360 Go has up until this point shot with a very wide point of view. I mean, I guess you could just say it's been a key feature. Just make sure it's kind of pointed in the right direction and it'll probably capture it. Insta360 have now given us a second option, a narrow point of view shot called linear. And the good news is that like many of the Insta360 Go features, you can just shoot now and choose to shoot later on how you wish to render the video, with a wide point of view as usual or with this new linear point of view. Check out my video in the description for more. Using the app, you can set the Insta360 Go to switch itself on for a recording session, record for either 15 or 30 seconds. You can choose between one of those two options and then switches itself off, ready to record when the next interval time is hit. You can select the interval between recording sessions from a few different options as well. Those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 and 30 minutes, as well as longer intervals like 1 hour, 12 hours, or even a whole day. Check out my video in the description for more details on how to use continuous interval shooting. If you have an Insta360 Go and your iPhone is starting to fill up with Go footage as well as all the other stuff you've got on there, you'll need to make room on your phone for more Go footage. But you don't want to delete that sweet Go footage because, well, you haven't finished with it yet. And it's not like you can dump it onto an SD card or hard drive through the app or the camera. Well, the great thing is that not only can you back up your app footage, but you can also reload it back onto your iPhone if you want to edit it again another time. Check out my video description again for more details on how to do this. If you've got an FPV drone, well, Insta360 have you covered, because to serve your community and your needs, Insta360 Go have extended the max record time from 1 minute using flow state stabilization to a 5-minute max record time using a special FPV stabilization mode. Great for all the FPV drone flyers out there who are rapidly adopting the Go as their onboard camera of choice. One of the best things about the AI included in the Insta360 Go app is the ability to automatically scan your footage by different themes and making a short video synced to music and transitions and all kinds of fancy editing, and it does it all for you via a feature called FLASHCUT. It's actually amazing, and I've made a couple of videos for you to get the best out of this feature. Check out the description for the links. Slow motion out of the Insta360 Go is actually pretty slick. The resolution isn't the best out there, but you know what? It ain't too shabby, and it's perfect for getting shots that you may not be able to pull off with other cameras, or you might not want to risk damaging them. When you use a selfie stick, it's like a drone, but it's not a drone, especially with its wide angle view and flow state stabilization. It's actually a pretty smooth solution to changing your angle of view on the world, and I love using it combined with that slow motion mode too. When you are using the selfie stick, you can't see the LED light to see if it's recording, but you can feel the vibrations through the selfie stick. Practice so you know what it feels like. When you get the Insta360 Go, a whole heap of mounts come along with it, and depending on the pack you get, you can use these for all kinds of different angles, from the chest mount to the hat clip to the ring mount and many other different combinations. It's a versatile camera, and that's probably its greatest strength, so use your imagination and go for it. Put the camera in backwards into the dock to save battery drainage of your charging dock if you don't need to charge it right now. It also saves the unnecessary top-ups of your actual camera unit, and that'll help to preserve its battery life too. So when you're doing a time lapse, you're supposed to have all of your settings on manual, so your camera doesn't correct for any of the settings. So ISO, focus, aperture, shutter speed, all of that is supposed to be on manual. Well, that's not going to happen with the Go, and that is the beauty of the Go 2. The Go is just not meant to do any of that. It's built in. Autopilot sorts all of it for you. And for B-roll, the Go does an amazing job to produce short time-lapse videos you'll be proud to show and share. Check out the video description for my full tutorial on how to do this. So Color Plus is the algorithm included in the app for the Insta360 Go that's designed to enhance your colors when you export from the app. Now you could go through the deeper settings to alter how your footage looks, but this Color Plus innovation is a simple toggle switch on export, and its color and contrast is adjusted through an artificial intelligence algorithm. You can have it on or off. Check out my full tutorial for more details. You know where the link is. Now remember, the mic is at the top of the device, so be careful not to block it if you're holding it like this top to tail. I've done it a few times and it's a little upsetting when you find out you've got rubbish sound for a sweet bit of video that you've captured. Now the sound is good on the Go, actually remarkably good for a camera this size, but consider the BRUSFRI app if you find yourself having to try to clean up the audio on a vital bit of footage. It integrates nicely on iOS, and you can find my full tutorial again in the link in this video description. One of the amazing features that you might overlook on the Go or take it for granted is just how good the stabilization is. Now this happens by cropping in a fair bit on the footage you've captured, which might be a bit of a loss, but with such a wild field of view and how effective this stabilization actually is, it makes it ideal for activities like running, especially if you're smart about how you've captured the footage and conserving your battery by using functions like the continuous interval mode 2 while you're out there. Bluetooth control is very handy for remote shooting. You can mount the Go somewhere like up high or away from you somewhere, and so long as you're in Bluetooth range, you can remotely trigger recording with your app. And features like that continuous interval can only be set up with the app, so it's worth getting to know how to do that. Use your mount for a backwards view to get a different angle when you're traveling around. One of the great things about the mounts is the ability to get these different angles. And there's a lot going on that the Go can capture, but don't forget that you can use it as a second camera, capturing what's going on behind you while you might be using another camera to record what's going on in front of you. Check out this rear view hyperlapse on a walk I did earlier this year here in New Zealand, just to give you an idea. You can attach the Go to a pet too. It's a small camera, so this is a fun thing to be able to do. But do remember, the fact that it's a small camera means it can also get lost too if it falls off your pet when they're not near you, or if they eat it. Hey, it's not impossible, and you probably won't want to review that footage if it makes it through to the other end too. You can use the Go for a third camera point of view shot in small spaces. Yes, you could use another kind of camera, but the small size of the Go just means it's super convenient for these kinds of shots on the fly. Now the cinematic barrel roll is a relatively new feature that Insta360 Go introduced not so long ago. It's great, but some people find it a bit disorienting to watch, so use it sparingly for the best impact. We're halfway through, so remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell to make sure you don't miss out on even more tips and more of my videos on light and easy mobile tech, apps and gear. Let's move on. You probably don't want to hear this as an Android user, but all of the feedback I've got on a lot of my Insta360 Go videos is asking why certain features don't work on Android. So be warned and do your research. And if you're not happy about certain features not working on Android, well, the more people tell Insta360, the more likely it is that they'll do something about it. Use the Iron Man medallion to store your Go when you're in a place where you think you might want to use it quickly. It's far quicker to get to than trying to pry it out of the hat clip, the selfie stick mount or the case. It's just a second to get into your hand and start shooting. Otherwise it can be tricky to start shooting quickly, especially if it's cold and you can't get it out. Change the button functions to what you prefer. For example, photo on 3 presses, hyperlapse on 2 presses, and slow motion on 1 press after the Go has been switched on. That way you won't end up with lots of photos of your hand because you've misjudged your button presses, and you'll end up with at least some slow-mo footage or something else that you can adjust to be usable footage in post-production. Alternatively, you can make all the button presses the same so you can't fail to get footage. Or maybe just assign one press for video and unassign all the other button press combinations. This is really important. The number of times I've missed footage because of this. Use a cocktail stick to speed up removal of the Go from the clip. Try not to use anything metal because you might damage the Go itself. Select Trim the Fat in the app, and this gets rid of all the hand movements as your hand comes in to start and stop recording when you're shooting the video. But even if you have selected Trim the Fat, just practice with the camera so you know exactly where to put your fingers, so there's less possibility that they're going to get in. Hands and thumbs, fingers are very common. But you can use linear mode to remove those fingers and thumbs and your head and your nose if they still appear in the video. Check out my video on the wide versus linear mode for more details on how this can help. Try experimenting with capturing snappy short clips using the 15 or 30-second option. It takes less memory and forces you to just capture the good stuff. You can always click again if you need to, but there's a reason why this camera is built for the highlights, so they say. Try it, it's actually quite freeing and it takes less editing time too. Now to stop recording, press the button once, apart from hyperlapse where you need to turn it off via the Bluetooth control in the app, and also continuous interval 2 where you have to long press to switch the Go off. That works for hyperlapse too. Remember, the Go is 10-second water resistant, so have some fun and play around with that, but just be careful you don't put it in contact with water for too long. We're into the final 10 tips, but stay tuned for the bonus tip at the end. The built-in magnetic back is actually particularly good for mounting the Go on things like street furniture, like lampposts, or other places around the house and other public spaces too. It's really helpful to make sure you give these sticky mats a clean every now and again. They work well, but they can lose their stickiness pretty quickly and you don't want your Go to fall to the ground at the crucial point. Remember, don't use the Iron Man mount if you have a pacemaker fitted. It can cause serious problems. Quick capture mode is very good if you can learn how to use it well. When the Go is off, quick capture allows you to push the button once and then the Go will come on and it will record for however long you've set the clip length to, and then it turns itself off automatically. You can set up quick capture up in the app. That's hard to say. You can turn the watermark on or off in the app settings. I quite like having it on, but you do have a choice. Choose turn off auto delete files in the app because that way you'll always have a backup copy of your files just in case anything goes wrong once you've transferred them. To free up space later, you can always delete them. Check out my earlier tip and the video in the description on how to free up space by offloading and backing up your Go footage. It's worth paying attention to the Explorer section of the app. There's some good tips in there and you'll find plenty of inspirational shots too for your footage and new tips as they become available. This is a simple tip, but it can be an absolute lifesaver. If the camera freezes, hold the record button for 20 seconds to reset it. I haven't had to use it much, but when I have, it has really saved the day. Now remember, the camera switches itself off after 30 seconds. This is to save battery life and it happens even if it's under Bluetooth control too. Just remember that when you're trying to get that shot, make sure the camera is still alive before you start shooting. And before you go out on a shoot, make sure you've charged both the Go and the charge case. The Go takes about 20 minutes to charge and the Go charge case takes about an hour to charge. And remember, when out shooting with the Go, you can top up the charge on the charge case with a portable power bank too. Finally, and my bonus tip, the button on the Go is its biggest strength and its biggest weakness. Practice getting your shot and know how you've set the options for the button combinations to avoid disappointments. Trust me, I'm speaking from experience here. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you check out my 6-month review of the Insta360 Go, and remember to share this video with your friends and subscribe for even more tips coming soon. My name's Saab Johal and good night.